Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. We've got a great show for you today. We are going to talk about investable themes out there. Normally, we talk individual stocks. Today, we'll talk invest in index funds that you can use to capture some hot themes that are out there, especially with the new inbound administration and preparing for 2021. So that's what we've got for you today. The futures are up, so it looks like it's going to be in the green. I have several names we can take long for our day trade this morning. If you're catching us on replays, please make sure you subscribe so you can continue to get notified that every day when the replay goes out. If you want to join us live, it's only $25 a month. We'd love to have you in the room. What you don't see is a chat room and a Q&A session where we can interact with each other and folks can ask me questions. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back to the morning brief, and welcome to December. As weird as 2020 has been, it's actually kind of clipping right along, right? It didn't seem like it was Halloween not too long ago, and then all of a sudden now through Thanksgiving and on into the Christmas season. So kind of crazy, almost getting 2020 behind us. As far as let's take a look at our morning flow here. Let's see, make sure you have a call sign in the room and have your chat window and Q&A window open with all attendees at over off to on the chat screen. Speaking of the screen, let me go ahead and put our normal morning names in there that we're going to take a look at. So those should be popping up for you right now. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. I do not know your own personal situations. You have to do your own due diligence before you act upon anything that you hear in this presentation. All right, mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're talking about growing our money through index funds instead of individual stocks that we normally talk about. So a little bit of a different take on things. These are names that I'm buying hand over fist right now going into 2021 and going into 4 years of a Democratic presidency and a split government for the U.S. Our question of the day is, how does a 529 college savings plan work? So we'll go through the details of that and then some of the contingencies, like if your kid gets a scholarship or you don't need the money or doesn't go to school, well, what your options are there. All right, for our flow today, it's long, short, open, short, long. We're going to go with the market review, the headline review in the U.S. news this morning. And then we're going to talk about our long-term investments, which are listed there. We'll get into the short-term execution. Again, we have, let's see, XPEV, Kohl's, Space, Virgin Galactic, all long, and Zoom short was the ones we're going to take a look at today. Pretty much a long market this morning with the futures up. So looking long first again, like we did yesterday. We'll execute the market open, then we'll transition to the Q&A. Make sure to put your questions in the Q&A window. And if you have anything you want me to take a look at, go ahead and put that in the chat. If you have any contingencies out there, make sure you reach out to me at steve@ototnow.com. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the S&P 500 on the ThinkPipes platform with TD Ameritrade. Again, for the new folks in the room, this is the SPY ticker, which represents the S&P 500, and it's a one-year view. So off the left, you have that dip we had when the pandemic was announced, 35% in basically less than a month, and then big recovery from there, some choppiness going into the election. And now we're kind of keep trying to bounce off of new highs, but it's not happening during market hours, but maybe today. We'll see. A lot of positive news. If you're hearing there's airplanes full of vaccines coming to the U.S. and there's all the storage requirements are being met. and a lot of positive news on the vaccine front. So that's what I think is carrying the market higher. And there's really a lack of bad news right now. So until we come up with our next, social unrest event, or, more second, third wave COVID news, think we have a pretty positive market. I thought that yesterday. We did not end up in the green yesterday, so I think it's carrying over to today. All right, here's the last 5 days. That's Palantir, so don't look at that. Getting the SPY in there. So here was yesterday again, opened down, never did quite make it back to where it was. But since the close yesterday, it's been kind of straight up as we start December here. All right, here's our day trading chart. We will come back to that in a minute. Okay, let's go ahead and share out CNBC. All right, refresh here for you. Okay, here's where we're looking at as far as the futures, up 1% almost across the board. So pretty steady whole market wanting to go higher today. Here was Europe was green across the board, and Asia green across the board. So a lot of that is carrying over into the U.S. market. There were our numbers yesterday. VIX is still pretty low down here at 20, so not a whole lot of options activity again is what that measures. So not increased levels of options activity there. As far as the bonds, not much going on in the bond market. Oil holding that 45 level. OPEC's in session right now, trying to get a deal out there. A little pop in the metals yesterday. Don't know what caused that necessarily, other than they've been selling off kind of hard. So maybe they're just reverting to the mean there. And then Bitcoin came in a little bit, down 3% yesterday off of the big run. Dropped 15% and then came back a bunch yesterday, teasing with that $20,000 level, which is kind of a glass ceiling. If you think there's going to be some resistance there, but then once it gets through it, it's probably going to rage on higher. Is generally how I expect it to act. Talked to two people yesterday that are big believers in Bitcoin, and got to give it its due. I do think it ends up going higher. The Winklevoss twins, if you follow them, they're out of the social network, and supposedly had the idea for Facebook that Zuckerberg stole. If you watch the movie, they're big into Bitcoin. They're calling $500,000 as the price in less than 10 years. Of course, they have every reason to say that, since that's their thing. But I don't necessarily believe that, but that would be pretty amazing. One Bitcoin, $500,000. Okay, we'll see. All right, let's take a look at the headlines here. 300-point pop, that's 1%. Yep. Tesla going into the S&P 500 on December 21st. So that's Tesla's up 5%. We're not going to trade the Tesla today just because it's kind of meteoric where it's gone. But a lot of the index funds I'm going to talk to you about today have Tesla in them. All right. Airbnb IPOs coming up, so is DoorDash. More on those when they get their actual date set. Here's something we're going to trade, the KSS, off in the chat window. I like Kohl's, discount retailer, partnered with Amazon. Now they're partnered with Sephora, right? Which I'm not super familiar with, other than it's, cosmetics, go in, get your hair done, that sort of thing. A lot of stuff that can't be necessarily replaced done online. You can go in, and so I think it's a natural partnership. And again, it's a little bit ways off, but 2023. But the stock is popping on that news, and that's one of the ones we're going to look at for the trade of the day today. Not familiar with Scale, so I'm going to take a look at Scale later to see what that headline is about. U.S.-China relations, we'll talk about that in the index fund here in a second. Okay, as far as the more election stuff kind of coming in, declaring Biden victory, so I think you can count on that now. And then Zoom is the only short I have for you today because it's a straight up market. It's basically risen so much it's almost reverting to the mean, if you will. So okay, let's switch over to the FinViz, and we will look at the first of the 6 funds I have for you today. This one's called ROBT, ROBT, It is an AI fund, ROBT, ROBT. AI fund that holds everything. You can see, obviously, it's been ripping straight higher, and it's got a lot of a lot of room, or a lot of gains lately. It's still a buy here for a long-term thesis, though. When you look for just a pure artificial intelligence play that captures everything, this is my favorite. That's why you'll see it. It's either in your portfolio or it's going in your portfolio. Again, trying to find an entry point is almost impossible on this thing. But you're thinking, everything from 5G to the brains inside Tesla and self-driving cars to Palantir, Snowflake, data management, data manipulation, decision making. All of that goes into fund. Remember, if you go into a fund, you don't have half of this, you only have a third or a quarter of the normal ratios that you have to take a look at it. But basically, you're going to have a fractional dividend, and that's about it as far as what you can look at. No real way to tell the true valuation of it. But all over the news, so you can see all kinds of different articles there. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the other names I have for you on the Schwab platform, which is right here. Okay, so we have Robot in the upper left, we already talked about. QCLN is a clean energy play. So when you think of, it has Tesla in it too, right? It has all of the EV cars, it has solar, it has wind, it has some of the infrastructure play, even though I do have a separate infrastructure one specifically for infrastructure related things. It's been on a tear. It's going to continue to be, a theme for the next 4 years for sure. And if it looks like Harris is popular enough, she's going to be running in 2024. If she can stay in power, she could be looking at another 4 or 8 years. So we could be looking at anywhere from 4 to 12 years of really hitting some of these themes pretty hard. Middle left there is K-Web. That is the Chinese technology firm. Trump was tough on China. And I think Biden's going to be more of a peacemaker going into China. So all things Chinese tech, it's led by Alibaba, IQ, Tencent Holdings, Baidu, Pinduoduo, all, Li, Xpeng, all of the names that you hear me talk about on a daily basis. You can just buy K-Web and be done with it and don't have to worry about picking individual names. Okay, Grid is an infrastructure play. So again, favorable Democratic administration looking to have transportation bills and other things out there that will build our infrastructure. There's a large data center piece in this actual fund, which is kind of why I like it. It owns all the data centers out there, which of course are popping up all over the place due to the data being the new oil. Lower left there, PPTY is real estate. So if you think, and I don't quite yet, but I do know it's out there, that inflation could be a theme or a concern or an issue. This is a place where you're going to want to have an allocation into real estate. You can do it through a real estate investment trust or PPTY, which is a collection of real estate investment trusts. So it is now, when you look at entry points, well, it disappeared there. When you look at entry points, this one still has a pretty attractive entry point compared to the rest that have already kind of moved. And last one, FIXD, you're probably familiar with it going into the election. That's where we parked money. Again, it operates like a bank account or a high yield savings where you're making about 3% while you wait. So it accrues daily and pays out monthly. That's why you see all those dividends across the bottom there. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of our short-term names. I put it in the room and nobody else new has joined, so I don't need to put it in the room again. Let's take a look at these for you. XPEV is Xpeng Motors. They increased their deliveries, which is this headline down here, 342% year over year. Now, it's still pretty small numbers, 4,000 vehicles, so they're kind of pulling a Tesla where the stock price is way out in front of itself. But when you look at where it was up at 78 a few days ago. It's kind of come crashing back down. It closed at 58, going up to 61. So it's got a lot of room to run higher, and these names are on fire. So that's the number one as far as the long today. Coles we talked about already, but let's just pull the chart real quick. It's at 32, already up at, close at 32, up here at 35 now. Plenty of volume. and a big headline to carry it higher. It is a new category after basically almost a double in the past couple months. So I like Kohl's. I still think it has more room to run higher. So that's our number 2 choice. And then the last one is Virgin Galactic, which doesn't have a headline associated with it. But it was a lot. It was all over Twitter last night by recommendations from Twitter experts, whatever that's worth. But it is gapping up a little bit. I think right at the like 4.8%. So it's a tertiary name that we're going to take a look at. As far as the downside, Zoom. Let's see if we can find it here. Just click on it. Down 7%. Again, it had been. I mean, it's been up to 580, which is kind of crazy. All over the news as far as the stocks out there. Closed at 480, down at 441. So basically just kind of overvalued. You really can't justify a valuation up here. So it's selling off based off of a lot of negativity in the press. So let's get rid of me. Let's go over to our day trades and set up for our trading. Excuse me, goodness. All right, going to set up with XPEV. And then KSS, and then Zoom, all the way up. Gosh, trying to get rid of this cough. It's terrible. Excuse me. Okay, welcome to the on time. Welcome to the On Time on Target play of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you. On the left, we have the SPY, which is a 1-minute chart there of the overall market. And then in the middle left, we have XPEV, which we're looking at long. Then we have KSS long. And then the far right chart is Zoom short. So that's what we'll be taking a look at it. We'll have the opening bell here in about 5 seconds. So looking for about a 50-cent stop on XPEV is our first. There's the opening bell. XPV is where we're looking at first for it's about a 50-cent stop. And then Kohl's already up 12.5% out of our range. Looks like a delayed opening here on XPV. So take a look there. Zoom falling like a rock. Again, this will be short if we get a chance to take it. Really looking at my ticker set up for XPEV long is what I want there. All right. All right, there it opened. Gonna let it stabilize for a second or let a little more volume come in here. I don't want to let it get too long without us. So I'm thinking 61.80. Don't take it yet. Still doing the math. All right, we'll take it at 61.90 with a 50-cent stop in XPEV. Again, 61.90 if it hits it. Hopefully it comes in a little bit. I'd like to get a better entry point down here. But again, we're looking at 61.90 with a 50-cent stop. Drawing a small line there just so you can see it. We are not in this name yet. There we are, 61.90. Get in the name. I'm off on another screen getting my trade. Make sure it goes. Make sure it goes through. All right, there we go. All right, 61.90 with a 50-cent stop is down here to 61.40. So we're in it here. So I'm going to increase this line out for you. And again, we're long. Based off of this increase in deliveries, 324% is where we're going. So your stop's all the way down here at 61.40. And we're looking for this to run $1.50 higher. So this is our long trade. Overall, it looks like the market's going a little bit, it's selling off a little bit into the open, so it's working against us. But I like the entry point there. And first R is right here on the screen already. You can see it was already there not too long ago. What's that, 20 minutes ago? So into XPEV long at 61.90. All right, let's take a look at some other names. There's Kohl's going higher, again, 12% or so. That may be a little optimistic for Kohl's. I don't think it has much more into it there. And then, of course, you have Zoom down 11% here. So you can't really take that. What was our other long name? The Space, SPCE. Virgin Galactic not really moving there. Of course, I say it doesn't have much more room to go, and then there it goes, ripping higher. Okay, keep track of XPV. If it hits 6140, we are out. There it is, we are out. So that kill that trade. We're down an R there. Make sure you are clear of that. So unfortunately, that worked against us there. Boy, that is really selling off pretty hard. That is kind of crazy. Make sure my went flat in time. It indeed did. Wow, that's just really fallen. And market's going down red too. I'm just kind of watching XPEV fall here. That's kind of crazy. So that's why you set the stop, right? Is you so you're only down an hour. We're up 3 hour yesterday, 2.5 because I had trouble for me personally because I had trouble exiting that trade. But that's the way things go sometimes. So and make sure I got out of my entry just in time and all looks good. Then we'll get back to the overall market here. Okay. Okay, let's see. Coal's looking long. That's looking good. I like it. And then space would not have worked. It's been kind of selling off. Let's take a look at some other names. Tesla was along. It was up 5% earlier. It is selling off a little bit, kind of with the overall market here, selling off. So there. Man, Tesla's really running down. Let's look at Lee Automotive, which is another name, tends to travel with XPEV, which is over here, as Lee also moving on the way down there as well. Okay, let's look around at the overall market. Market up 0.9 on the Dow, 0.8 on the S&P, and 0.6 on the NASDAQ. So let's go to see what's going on in the leaderboard here. Upper left is where we're looking at. Coal's up 13%, Moderna up 12%. That's another name that's been kind of on fire. It's tough to justify the valuation here, though, because as they were talking about earlier, can't just be the vaccination there that's causing this to be up that much. GMHI up 6, YCBD, again, psychedelic names. There's a whole bunch of them up here as well. Micron's been in the news, 3.7%. We haven't looked at Micron's chart for a while, but when Micron's screaming higher, I mean, look at that, 66%. It was down. It was supposedly overvalued in the 40s, is what people were saying. Now it's a 66. So chip makers, AI, all that stuff is a good long-term theme. You have Pfizer popping on the vaccine news. Intel getting a little bit of love. That one's been left for dead. Tencent Holdings, I like that from a Chinese video gaming perspective. Several other names in there. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's in the red today. We'll go with all the way at the bottom here. Nikola down 16%. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at that on this chart. So we had Nikola from yesterday, NKLA, gap down like 20-some% yesterday. That's kind of amazing. So let's go to a 5-day chart. Not wanting to go to a 5-day chart. There's our 5-day chart. So again, here was the gap down yesterday. And then here was the it's gapping down again today. So pretty hard sell off in Nikola. So you see our trade, it's still continuing down in the red for poor XPEV here. So kind of a good crazy sell off. All right, let's go back to taking a look at what else is selling off today. Again, I'm down at the bottom, LCA. Getting ready to become GNOG. I think it's supposed to happen today, actually. MDB, Shopify down some, Clickstream down some, Northwest Bio. So there are names in the red, but not too many of them out there. So on the upside, there we go. Kohl's kind of Kohl's and Moderna leading the pack. Okay, let's go ahead and bring that down. I'll take you over to the back to Google Chrome. We'll talk about 529s. Okay, let's see. Is that shared out correctly? No, it's not. There it is. Share. Okay, so 529 plans. So this is, again, your primary college savings plan that's out there. You can do Coverdell ESAs where you can do individual stocks. Most people don't do that. Most people do the 529 plan. As a parent, you can put $15,000 a year into this plan for your child to go off to college. Doesn't have to be your child. It can be you. It can be your spouse. Really any beneficiary you want. But you put a bunch of money into this, $15,000 a year, which is right up to the gift tax exclusion. And then you can continue. If you want to super fund it, you can put 5 years worth up front. So really $75,000. If you have that laying around and you want to put that towards college, you can jam that into a 529 plan. So the benefits of the 529 plan are right here. It's the tax advantage accounts can be used to cover educational expenses all the way from kindergarten through graduate school. A lot of people just kind of think of college, but if your kids are in private school, you can use 529 money for private school as well. And if you happen to get a scholarship because you're good at your sport or you're in band or whatever it is that's paying for your school, or you go to a service academy, something like that, this money can then be saved and basically continue to grow. And you can use it to become get your MBA or, whatever master's degree you want, or doctor, lawyer, whatever suits your fancy there. You can also use it for some tech schools. You have to kind of take a look at what you're using it for there. 529 plans are run by the state. If you go through like TD Ameritrade's technically the Nebraska plan, the Schwab plan is technically the New York plan. None of that matters. It does not matter what plan you are in. You can use it at any college in the United States. As far as the advantage of it is this money grows. So say you put a total of, you do $500 a month from your child from birth until they're, 10 years old or something, then you don't fund it anymore. Well, all that time, all the earnings from that money, which when you think of a child going to college, if you start when they're born, it's 18 years. So your money should double twice, right? So if you put 10,000 in at birth, it should double to 20, and then it should double again to 40 during that time with just normal market returns. So pretty good way to get your money to grow for you. And you don't have to pay taxes on all those gains. So really that's the magic of it. And once your child starts college, if you only have a couple years of college saved in your 529 plan, it's better to really go out of pocket for the first couple of years and then turn around and then use it towards the last couple of years, just to give yourself a little more growth in that tax advantage status. All right, you get into how expensive college is, which it is kind of mind-boggling. If anything, this COVID-19 hopefully will help bring some of the college costs down because they've had to lay off people, and we found we can learn virtually even at the college level as well. So some of the other contingencies of what happens if I get a scholarship, can I get that money out? Yes, you can. If you get a scholarship, or you go to a service academy or whatever, then what you can do is once you receive funds that go into, your college is paid for, you take the average tuition that university charges, and then you can submit paperwork to your 529, and you're able to draw that amount out of your 529. There's no penalty associated with that, but you do have to pay taxes on the earnings in that case, which kind of is like, that will boo, but it's as if you never did it. You're not penalized. However, if you have a bunch of money in a 529 and you decide not to go to school, and just because you don't want to use it for education, then you are penalized 10% and you have to pay taxes. So really you either want to leave the money in there or if you get a scholarship of some sort, that allows you to exit that money back out of the 529 plan. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. Let's see, nothing in the Q&A there. So welcome to December. We've got a pretty strong start across the board, about 1% or so for our first day of December here. So with that, I will see you guys back tomorrow morning. Have a good one.